Okay, here's something else that can happen. I'm knitting along and I had cast on 6 stitches. All of a sudden I notice, oh my goodness, I don't have 6 stitches. I only have 5 stitches. So what happened? Let me see. I look here. I don't see anything. I'm going to turn it over. Look some more. Up. Do you see that little sticking out right here? I know it gets lost in everything else. That's why I'm showing you these. They're kind of hard to see when you get started. You know what I did here? I just missed that step entirely. I didn't even slip it. It's just, it didn't get knit. Now, I have to do something about this. I don't think I mentioned it, but with twisted stitches, or even slipped stitches, you don't really have to do anything about them. You can leave a twisted stitch, it's not going anywhere, and you can just knit the slipped stitch and go on. You're going to see a little flaw in your fabric, but it's your choice. But with this, missing a stitch, I can't leave that. You know why? Because it can do this. See? It pulls out and it just keeps going like a run. Okay, if you've ever had any kind of knit item and it gets a prick in it and it just runs, it just keeps going down. So what I need to do, and one reason I did this is because often when you miss a stitch, the first thing you notice is a run in the fabric. A knitter's nightmare. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to take my needle out and I'm going to pull back at least to where I have this available. Now you have a couple of choices at this point. You can go ahead and pull all the way past the run, or you can actually, if you can tell what you're doing, you can re-knit these. Now again, it's a bit of an advanced skill. Don't worry if you can't do it yet. And what's really helpful to have to do it is a crochet hook. Now don't worry, if you don't have a crochet hook, just go ahead and pull it out past the mistake and then re-knit those rows. I'm showing you this almost like a preview. It's not something that you necessarily are going to be able to do right now. But if you do have a crochet hook and you want to try this, you can insert your crochet hook in the loop. That's the last loop before it's unraveled. And then grab your yarn that's fallen loose and pull it through the loop. Now, whoopsie, what's going on there? Oh, I've got my crochet hook was stuck in my yarn. Okay, now let me look. Okay, that stitch looks like the next stitch. It's a purl bump, so I'm fine. That worked. Now, with the next stitch, I'm not going to go in the same way because that next row is a knit row. Because in garter stitch fabric, you have a knit row. Now you knit every row, but you know you've turned it around. So when you're just looking at one side, you have a knit row, and then a purl row, a knit row, then a purl row. You don't know how to purl yet because we're learning that in the next kit. But until then, you can just look and see what the stitch looks like next to it. Okay, so this time I'm going in the loop from the front because it needs to be a knit stitch. And I'm going to grab the piece that unraveled and pull it back through the loop. And there I've made a knit stitch, yes. That means my next one has to be a purl stitch. So I'm going to go in from the other side and pull my loop through. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get it. I'm doing this looking in the camera, and it's like trying to do something by looking in a mirror. It's not exactly like that, but it sort of is. Well, doggone. Okay, let me reposition myself. I'm going to go through that loop. I'm going to grab my yarn that unraveled on me and pull it back through. This crochet hook isn't quite big enough for these t-shirt, for this bulky t-shirt yarn. I was going to use some of the hooks I got from Fabuloop, and I can't find them in my mess today, and I really need to get this video done. Okay, so we're back to the row we're working on. So I'm going to put my crochet hook aside and then begin the process. Now remember what we learned earlier? Working yarn needs to be on the opposite side. That looks like, you know what, I don't have them on the same row. Hold on. I need to pull another 2 stitches out. Yes, correcting mistakes gets messy. It's one of the most difficult things to learn in knitting, is how to recognize and correct mistakes. Don't despair if this seems way beyond you right now. You keep knitting, and before you know it, you'll be able to do the next thing, and then the next thing. Okay, so let me put my stitches back on. Oh, you know what? I'm down here working with those stitches that I twisted, so I'm not going to go all back into the proper leg and everything. I'm just going to get them back on there. Yeah, because I'm I'm working with twisted stitches there. But that just goes to show you, when you're working along and something seems weird or odd or just doesn't look right, chances are there's a mistake in there somewhere. And if it involves a stitch that's actually not knitted, then you really have to fix it. If it is knitted, but it's just twisted, like this one right here, that one is a twisted stitch right there. But it's not going to matter. If I was making, you know, like a scarf or something, in the grand scheme of things, you're probably not even going to be able to see it. Okay, so here I am, and I'm ready to keep knitting. So this is the end of the videos for the Learn to Knit Kit 1. If you have something that I haven't covered in the videos, let me know, because I can always make another short clip video. If there's something that needs better explaining or a different example, you know, write to me. There's ways to contact me on the website or in your notebook, and let me know. Because my objective is to help you learn to knit, to become a knitter, and start on your knitting journey. And if there's something I can do to help you do that, I will. And just keep knitting. Just keep trying. You will get there. I promise. Keep knitting. Just keep knitting. Go on along and just keep knitting. This is Aunt Karen saying goodbye for now.